Self-doubt all the time. Let me be very real. Self-doubt every time I'm going on a stage or I'm going for taking a big decision. I'm so sorry, but you can't fail. You can't fail here because trust is not negotiable. And then at the second time, it's more like I drive with a clarity, trust, and accountability. If people ask me this question, if you were not in technology, what you have been, I would have been a choreographer because that's my passion.
Welcome back to the CyberSec Migrant, the podcast that bridges global journeys and cybersecurity dreams one story at a time. I'm your host, Femi, and today we are stepping into the executive suite. Today, I'm joined by a powerhouse guest who is the Vice President of Cybersecurity Products at JPMC, that's JP Morgan Chase. Additionally, she's the co-founder of Future Force, a startup accelerator hub where tech dreams are developed and leaders with deep-rooted secure product designs and doing a lot of work in the space with AI and machine learning. She's also a builder of smart, sustainable cyber tech. We never knew we were going to have smart, sustainable, and cyber tech in the same sentence, but hey, here you go. She's going to be talking about career paths, product development, and what it actually takes to lead in a world where tech changes by the minute. Now, quick plug. If you're watching this on YouTube and you are a subscriber, thank you. It means so much to us. But if you're not a subscriber yet, we kindly ask that you consider subscribing to the channel and hit that subscribe button and help us reach our first 1,000 subscribers. We're building something special here and you can be a part of it from the ground up. And hey, if this episode speaks to you, share with a friend, a colleague, or a fellow cyber dreamer. All right, let's jump in. So, Neha, welcome to today's episode of the CyberSec Migrant.
Hi, Femi. I'm honored to be at your show.
So, Neha Srivastav, welcome to the CyberSec Migrant. Thank God I think I said it properly. Now, I know you a bit well, but my audience doesn't know you very well. So tell us a bit about yourself. All they know for now is that you work at JPMC and you're the VP Cybersecurity Products and you love AI and quantum. So tell us some more.
Yeah, so I work right now as a vice president in JP Morgan Chase, specifically working in cryptography and data protection. And that's why you hear me. I keep on talking about quantum because I think my day and night is towards searching out what could be a PQC, which is post-quantum computing, and the results which will come from that. Apart from that, I also a co-founder of Future Force. What we do there is more about social impact, because if I'm trying to create something which is a luxury, but what about social impact? Just an example, if somebody's coming with something they want to do it for environment, something for healthcare, something for education, I feel like, yes, they are coming with the innovative idea, but lots of these people are non-tech people, but they want to create a digital product. So what I do with my whole expertise for 15 to 16 years, I just provide them more and more technical advice and also plug in and give a little bit of sneak peek on security. Just the other day, I was talking to a person, he wants to make a social media for kids and then something where they can sell after school coaching and things like that. And there I said, you know what you're doing is great, but whenever you're touching kids, you have to have so many compliance which you have to fulfill. And teaching them, educating them is what is a fun element. And that's why I felt like startup advisor is what I can say. I am also very curious to save the world. That's why I'm working on some of the
very important.
Some of the project on climate and sustainability. I was a mentor in Climate Hub in Seattle. And through that, I see so many innovations is happening. And then, when you start reading more and more, you get feeds. And now I have all the feeds where I read every day. We are on borrowed time. We have already ruined the climate so much. And it is very much like now it's also about security, life security, So that is also something I'm working on apart from cybersecurity. So I think two things which I say: security, CS squared, cybersecurity, and climate and sustainability.
That is so important, and that is so true. Again, I was catching the news. For those who've been following the show for a while, I'm in Vancouver, Canada. I've been following the news for a while, and right now we have so many wildfires burning in northern Canada, in Manitoba, and Saskatchewan, even here in British Columbia as well. People have been displaced, some lives have been lost, property has been damaged. So it's very important for us to have sustainable solutions to help us as we move forward. But these sustainable solutions also need to be secure. So my question for you is why, you're moving to cybersecurity, then product leadership, and now building secure, sustainable solutions. Why did you choose that? And then how do you balance innovation? You spoke about your friend who is trying to build a social media app for kids, which is very innovative, but there's a lot of risk, there's a lot of compliance. So why are you doing what you do? And how do you balance innovation with risk, especially when cybersecurity and policies are concerned?
I think it goes back to my whole curiosity meets responsibility side. So I've been working in tech for a long period of time, and I pivot multiple times, worked in many companies. But sometimes God give you a signal. Mostly in tech consulting, wherever I worked, I started with Accenture, then I moved to Deloitte in London. I lived there for a time being, and then I moved to US. So being into different countries, learning more and more about technology, but mostly towards fintech. So security mindset was what I originated and my career started with. Right now, a lot of times I hear a question that why this, why that, and why we should do something like that. And we have so many people in my company who are from core tech. So they are like, try fast, fail fast, so that we learn fast.
Fail fast, yeah.
I have to explain them. I'm so sorry, but you can't fail. That is the problem here. You can't fail here because trust is non-negotiable. At this point of time, when you work in a very sensitive area, whether it's a healthcare, whether it's be fintech, whether it's be other domains where trust is non-negotiable, you can't fail. And it's just not compliance which we work for. We also work for resilience, right? Because yes, we can adhere. That is what company and other locations are telling, but we also have to have resilience and a trust. So that is what is very much necessary and needed for me. And when you say balance innovation with risk, a very good topic, but a very difficult topic. Every day, this is a topic where we have to have a difficult times explaining to customers that why we want to do this over that, because innovation is fast, but they feel like adding security can slow down. And there where
most times it does.
Yeah, that is true.
Because we think about it, security makes you stop and think. Innovation makes you sometimes you're like, no, I want to go. But security will stop and think. Yeah. What's the risk?
But innovation without guardrails is reckless. And also I say what you want, right? What you want at the end of the day, so that we can balance. You need innovations, then let's do a risk analysis or assessment. With that, we can find out what is an impact, what is the likelihood. Do we want it? Have a negotiation with stakeholders. And then most of the time I do a cross-functional discussions. It's just not me, because probably I know one side of the things. Then I bring people from governance, data governance, from compliance, from legals, because lots of time the risk is we think as technology, it's not a big deal, but for company, it becomes more of a reputational damage. A small thing where technically, I've been to so many conversations because I'm surrounded with all technical people, and I myself do a product architecture, right? While architecture, a lot of things are, okay, probably it will never happen. But for legals, when we bring them into the conversation and risk people, lots of things are no. If something like this happen, technically nothing is stolen. Still, it will be a reputation damage for the company you're working for. So it's a big, I will say, more of a conversation where you have to be very cautious, and then you have to do risk versus reward analysis. You have to find out what is the risk, what is the reward you are getting, how we should do a trade-off, because trade-off I feel like is very, very, very important. And how we can do is through pilot programs. So right now, let's take an example, AI. We have to take a breath. I know it came overnight, right? But overnight, and you see that we are still learning the models and LLM. And yesterday I saw, oh yeah, agentic AI is all there. So I've been to this session, and marketing people are selling it the way they can. But we have to understand how can we utilize and non-utilize. So, I mean, if you sum it up, that's how I do a whole comparison and do a trade-off to make something through pilot programs. As in, let's try it out, have whole analysis. If everything looks good, then we'll go with this innovation.
Yeah, so what's the risk? What's the reward? Pilot, iterate, risk, reward. I think if you do it that way, you can't go wrong. Definitely.
Yeah, and security mindset. I have to teach every time that what we are selling here, are we selling innovation or are we selling security? Most of time in places like healthcare, So are we selling security to them, or we are saying, yeah, just data or other stuff? If you're, or banks, right? Digital thing
Yeah.
is, everything is more about security. I am okay if my page is loading in 2 minutes, but I'm not okay if I see 10,000 become zero, right?
Exactly, right? Exactly. That's the important part, the bottom line.
So yeah, that is what I take care.
That is true. Hey, Cybersec Migrant listeners. If you're enjoying the show, help us spread the word. Share the Cybersec Migrant podcast with your friends, your colleagues, and your network. It's the best way to help others discover our awesome content and to join the conversation. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast platform. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and any other place where you get your podcast, so you never miss an episode. And do hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Your support helps us keep bringing you more valuable content, insights, and stories, and all these tips from the world of cybersecurity. And thank you for tuning in. And now, let's get back to today's episode. And you spoke about AI, and for those who know, recently there was a conference here in Vancouver, big AI themed conference called Web Summit. It used to be Coalition in Toronto, but then they moved it to Vancouver. It was fantastic. Over 15,000 people from over 86 different countries came to talk, and almost everybody had a product that was leveraging AI. AI for GRC, AI for healthcare, AI for fintech, AI. So AI is here to stay.
Yeah.
Now, I was talking to somebody who said AI is making us dumb, or AI is not really going to do any work. There's so many things. As somebody who is in the space, what's your perspective? Is it really a promise in the future, or is it all hype and no substance with AI? And more importantly, bringing it back to security, are there ethical concerns around responsible use of AI? Because some people just want to just keep on feeding the AI. Mm-hmm. People are saying, no, let's be careful about how we use it. Let's think about ethical use. Let's think about privacy. Let's think about the risk. Where do you stand? What's your perspective?
So I'll start with AI. Definitely, it's powerful. But AI is not new. People in technology understand, right? It's not new. We have been living in AI. I was studying 12 years back when I was doing my bachelor's and other stuff. I was studying AI that time too. So it was nothing that it's, oh yeah, I never knew it. But the application is definitely new. The fields which are coming is actually new. And trust me or not, a lot of times when I know everybody's using LLM and other things, but a lot of time when I use it, I don't get the right answer. And that's where people have to understand AI is very, very based on data and data sets.
True.
Right?
True.
Okay, let's talk about the best use cases because I feel AI is powerful. So automation. If you say I'm trying to automate something which is repeatedly done multiple times, like RPA, right? Those kind of automation in testing automations, things like this, I am good with that. Example, if you say I'm using it for threat detection, I'm using it for intrusion detections or incident results. Or you can say phishing behavior, because a lot of phishing has already been found out, and using that, definitely computer can understand it and give us more analysis. Behavior analysis, that's a little bit of controversy when it comes to behavior. But yeah, behavior analysis, network, lots of time you are putting the guardrails in the network, firewalls, and the system can read it, understand it, and that's more powerful because there is no burnout when it comes to AI, right? It's just like repeatedly.
Yeah, not like us.
Right? So there is a guard who's never sleeping. Let's say that way. There's a gatekeeper who's never sleeping. So that's a strong behavior of fraud analysis. Lots of time we are using it to understand what are the patterns, what are the frauds. So for that, definitely it's great. Actually, in one of the bank where I was working before, we created a button where when you are talking to a customer and while you are finding out that it could be a phishing call, it's scam or things like that, they just click a button and that button automate a lot of processes where it goes right into the incident creation of there is something fishy and how to control that direction will come back to screen of a human so that they know how to react to this situation. Right? Things like that.
In real time. In real time,
right? So we used to write a lot of program. Now probably it's already done, so AI can pick it. Great usage of AI. Now, if you say what is the promise there, lots of promise, because truly, in my opinion, we are still in an experimental mode, right? Overnight, Overnight, if you say something came up, it's an experiment, first of all. So you have to take it like an experiment. They are promising scalability, no doubt. Of course, there could be scalability. There is a speed for sure. Human cannot be compared through machine. So yes, they have a speed. They have continuous learning because you can integrate a pathway where you are giving them the data sets and everything. It will learn. Now, hype is definitely is overestimation, right? You are hyping it. It's very, very costly. I was talking to an AI ML team within my bank and others. It's so costly to implement a lot of things because hit and try, train data sets. You keep on training, and then data set itself is very expensive, right? Remember the places where we are the product, we are giving our data.
Exactly, right?
And they are learning it, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of data quality issues. Lots of poisoning are happening at different level, right? The models you are using could also be poisoned. A lot of ethical concerns are coming. I've seen some of, I don't know, Instagram is real or not, but there are so many things which I see on that where they are making robotic babies by mixing human genes with the machine thing, changing the way we think about the things, adding more intelligence into the brain. So things like this, there are so many ethical concerns, actually.
Yeah.
So there definitely I feel like it's hype. You cannot just remove human consent for everything and just keep on playing with their data. So privacy is there. And then later on, I will say definitely skill gap. Not everybody is skilled on agentic AI. Not everybody is skilled on different models. So we are learning, we are experimental. That is what we have to understand. And while doing this, if you want to implement AI into certain parts, like detection, mostly automation and detection, good use cases. Other than that, I don't think that it is doing something which we didn't knew cannot be done.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you said, we've been using AI. I think one of the very first uses within our industry for AI was with, no one wants to go and look at 6 logs, 6,000 or 6 million lines of logs. Nobody wants to do that. So AI is very good at, repetitive tasks, automation, AI, ML, fantastic at doing that. But I was telling someone the other day, I said, I don't believe that anyone today is going to be okay for AI to, to set your policy, your governance policies for you, or your risk policies, your compliance policies for you. No one is going to do that. I am still going to have a human to do that. So AI is good at the mundane task so that we can do the higher level tasks.
Exactly.
That is where we need to put it. So the early people realize that AI is not the be all and end all. It's great, but it's not everything.
Yeah, it's not a silver bullet. It's definitely a force multiplier, right? It is definitely multiplying, but you should be the brain, right?
Exactly.
And that's what, it just like I will say promise lies in augmenting human capability, not like removing them. And a lot of times when you see these startups are coming and all that, they're like, yeah, we don't need humans and everything is working fine with this AI.
Really?
And they're like, really, it can definitely work for a week, and after that you have to understand how this all works. There where I feel like we do require a global body for ethical and responsible AI. I myself is working on that. Yeah, I myself is working on that. I've seen so many places where women in the ethics and things like this is happening, and I'm trying to find where there is a good voice where I can be there. Because while doing lots of research, while implementing a lot of solutions, I myself find a lot of times there are bias and discrimination into the models which we are getting, right? Privacy concern, it's already there. Transparency and accountability, because you are keep on giving those models and it is just learning, but you also have to understand the data set through which it is learning. Is that data set is clean and clear? Does it has diverse perspective? And if not, you are just doing it from one geographical area. And I'm giving example of healthcare too, just to have a diverse background to it. Like when you try to find a cure for some medicine, you just don't test one geographical area because that medicine has to work on everybody's body.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? So you have to bring all those diverse people. I know diversity and inclusion is a big deal and it's very controversial in the location where you are sitting. Right? But it's more about, a lot of times we are giving lots of not autonomy and control to these things, to AI and other stuff. And then for that, yes, there are some practices which is going off because you are not giving more importance to them. And with that, I feel like we have to have some or the other levels of remediation. There should be definitely some guidelines coming from NIST, GDPR, EU, all the bodies which are very much reputed and people and company follow them. You have to have lots and lots of data, representative data. You have to have controls to test that data before feeding into the models. Because once you test that data and you see, yes, all the perspective is there, then you know that your models will not be corrupted. And then again, privacy. So just an example, frauds.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah. The frauds and other departments which you do pattern study and try to find a fraud, actually, they don't need to know your SSN. They don't need to know your unique identifier of your profile. They just need it as a field. So in that, why you're passing the real value? Don't pass clear text value. Protect it. Use different mechanism. Masking, encryption, tokenization. I mean, cryptography is my domain, so I keep on talking about different use cases.
Anonymization.
Yeah, randomization. So many topics are there which you can depend upon your use cases. Use the cost-effective solution, but use something. Just don't pass the data because it's not yours.
Yeah.
And then have always the new thing which I'm learning, that adding a loop into it which say explain. So explanatory things. So AI, when they make a decision, they should also start explaining why the decision is made. So that when human is in the loop, right, they can read why this was made. And if that things are not right, they can override.
Step in. Exactly.
Override. Exactly. So a lot of times I see that we forget to do override or kill switch. We need to have kill switch. We need to have override.
We do. We don't want Skynet to take over. We don't want the Terminators to come from the future.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to fight something which I used to see in sci-fi. It's just becoming so real. So
absolutely.
Human oversight is very, very important. And I feel like that is very much needed, where you cannot remove human from the loop. You have to have human in the loop to see that whatever decision is being made, yes, this is right or wrong. And then you have a power to override. So I think summing it up, I feel like ethical AI, responsible AI has to be there if you want to embrace AI for longer run.
Absolutely. And you've said some very interesting things. I'm going to come back and we're going to have a little bit of a conversation around leadership and impact. But there's something I want to lean into your experience with Future Force and what you've done with building, talking to founders, working with cross-functional teams. Because one of the problems we've seen is people say security is sometimes an afterthought, or all we do in security is we make the company spend money, right? Because we don't give them a product. We're always making them spend money. So what's your approach, especially at the level that you're in at work? How do you get to manage these diverse cross-functional teams? There's security, there's product, there's marketing, there's sales, all of that. How do you get all of them? What are the lessons you've learned to help security go? Because I think one of the things we say is for security to be successful, it has to align with business goals, right?
Yeah.
So how do you do that? And what are the communication hacks you have to keep everybody on the same page?
Yeah, a difficult question, because sometimes I think people management is more difficult than machine management.
Oh, it is. Absolutely, it is.
Because how complex we are being manufactured and nobody understands. So it's a very, very, I'll say, innovative question for a while. Cross-functional, a lot of times, I think, coming back to security. Now, because we are in that world of AI, we are in that world where a lot of new technologies are coming, uncertainties are there, right? When COVID happens, lots and lots of people got manipulated on a lot of phishing emails, which was coming. So people forgot what is real versus illusion. They left that whole things because the world is anyhow going in a direction where you don't know you will be alive or not. And after that, things happened. So now I think little bit shift in the perspective has begun. So it's more about, I try to talk to people and try to say that, you know what, security doesn't slow down you. Like, yes, at times, but it doesn't have to slow down the innovation. It has to fuel it. The more secure your application will be, because you are it's just like a click away from that fraud happen, where you have to spend 3 times extra than you were giving for the security. So I think that is what we have to think about. I was in one of the Microsoft Reactor session and they were talking about Microsoft Fabric, new product and things like that. And there was a person who said that when we talk about security, it becomes very expensive. Nobody wants to buy it and things like that. But people don't understand security is a mindset. So we have to change the mindset, first of all. It also how you convince the customer. So I have changed the way I used to convince customer. I have to make it a little more, I'll say, to say, you know what, secure products are more marketable and scalable,
Yeah, true,
right? It
true.
is more. And then
And they
because
actually are. They actually
because
are.
in the business we are, if you don't have any bad reputation of any security concerns and things like that, it lasts long. Versus things like, again, I will say insurance company. I was in one of the health insurance company. I see, oh yeah, this breach happens. Immediately I change my vendor. Why? Because I don't
Exactly.
trust it. So there's no remedy when you lose trust, right?
Yeah,
It's very much a human thing. If you lose trust, you
yeah,
lose trust.
yeah.
So I think we have to change the way we pitch to the business, and that's what is a thing that I have to say. We have to have a security mindset. It's not a cost center, guys. It's a security mindset. And
Cost center.
after that I have to come up with a radical clarity why we are doing it, what we are doing. Lots of time when I'm talking to team application team, they come to us to say, oh, apply security patch, and then they will bargain on the performance, they will bargain on the throughputs and things like that. Very much true. But then I have to question them, team, why you came to us? Do you came to us for speed or do you came to us for security? And
Security.
just think about why, when, how, right? You have to
Yeah.
understand and then measure it. So it's very much important why we are doing what we are doing. And security is actually very much necessary tool with which we can go longer. At this point, when we keep on talking about AI, and when AI is also going in a very negative directions by lots of crime happening. If we are as a good actor, we are learning fast. Bad actors are also learning fast at the same speed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's more about continuous learning, having those direction, talking to cross-functional team, and then most of the time we also have to think about the shared goal we are working towards. What is our goal? When you go from goal, all the objective, then you go with the whole KPI things. This is where we'll be measuring and things like that, and go back to now let's innovate and innovate with the security mindset. It will become like a needed thing. And a lot of times I been talking to so many people and I feel there is a gap. Other day I was talking to somebody and I said, you know what, have you done a threat modeling of your product, because you'll be integrating with something which will be introducing more and more things to the partners, which is outside our firm. And they're like, excuse me, what is threat modeling? And there where I'm like, okay, so let's stop the discussion, whatever we are doing, and let's go into an educational path, because now we also have to train resources. So at my level, I feel like training is very, very important with the latest technology which is coming up, right? And lots and lots of security concerns which are being introduced, because if you don't know that, you will never know the importance of security. You will actually have a respect for security when you know what all levels of problems which can come when there are threats in the application, and how expensive it is to fix the threats.
I want to humanize you a bit here. One, it's not very often that you find somebody who is a woman, minority, immigrant in a position like you are in. So you are a role model that many people will be looking forward to. Hey, I want to be like Neha when I grow up. Because not everybody is they are the opportunity with the VP, leading a large team, leading cross-functional teams. So talk to us a bit about what is your philosophy around leadership and mentorship, and how do you, because I'm a big believer in we need a lot of diversity in the industry, we need a lot of diversity in the field. Diversity is actually a strength for us. So what's your philosophy around driving excellence? How do you mentor other people like you, women of color, minorities, immigrants, to say, hey, don't be scared. You can do this too. No one should tell you no. I had an episode recently. I spoke with someone and he was talking about that. No matter what your dream is, you have the right to chase your dreams. So how do you do that? And on the flip side, sometimes it's easy to, especially when you go into a room where everybody doesn't look like you, sometimes then imposter syndrome can come in. So how do you do that? You're driving excellence on one hand, but on the other hand, you're actually fighting and dealing with imposter syndrome. How do you deal with all of that? How do you balance it? Give us some tricks for those who are listening.
Yeah, so it's difficult. Definitely, it's difficult.
I know it is.
There are so many battles. There's so many battles which I fought for, and then probably I won sometimes and I lost sometimes, right? So it's difficult to be a leader. It's difficult to be an example for others because a lot of times you have to fight for a lot of things to be creating examples for others. For me, I think leadership is definitely to raise bar, but then also embrace that bar by teaching and by giving tools to your employees to learn for it, right? You say, yeah, the bar is high, and then you are not enabling your team. So that will be a difficult thing if you're not doing it. And then at the second time, it's more like I drive with a clarity, trust, and accountability. So when I talk to people, it's not about, and definitely empathy. That's my strong point, I guess. Whoever I talk to, I feel like empathy is a key. You have to be
so important.
You have to understand that when I talk to customers also, voice of customer and everything comes into the profile I play, and then I go to engineers and similar thing happens. Empathy is a thing. I understand the pain points through which they keep coming, and then we have to solve it. Because most of the places, technology is not the solution. They are the back end to solve the problem which business is facing. When you are facing those things, you have to be very mindful of what we are trying to do, right? So excellence is not perfection. It's like discipline to improve, and you have to keep on improving. Nobody's saying don't fail. Like as a personality, you can keep on learning. Definitely, you can keep on learning.
Absolutely, we learn all the time. We learn every day.
In every day, right? And then always when you are not succeeding on something, you're lacking on something, and you're learning by finding the gap. What is the gap? Why this is not done? And definitely through that, mentorship is a key. Many places I've been to, I mentored so many people. I was mentored by a lot of people. That is definitely give me a feeling of fulfillment. Being a woman is difficult at times. Yes, I've been to many places where I was the only woman, and I was surrounded by all men, and I have to take some decision, which is a very difficult decision. And I don't know if everybody agree on it. Lots of time there are ego issues. There are other issues which are a factor on your perspective of saying something. Right. So diversity in my mind do matters a lot because you come with, and then in cybersecurity, it matters a lot because you come with different perspective, with different backgrounds from different countries. When you sit together, because cybersecurity is not a country issue. It's
not.
A planet issue.
It doesn't know what your country is. It doesn't care.
So until you have all the perspective, because the crime which is happening in one country, probably other countries not facing the similar type of crime. Crimes level definition changes. So when you talk about something, diverse perspective on the same problem opens your eye, and you are not going towards a blind spot. Like you can uncover those blind spots, right? So I feel like it's not very needed that you have to have one-on-one session on the mentorship. I try to have mentorship wherever I'm going. I strike a talk, and then after that, through that conversation, if people are trying to learn something, they learn it. And through that, they're like, okay, let's connect more on this topic. Because a conversation definitely changed the trajectory, right? It just changed the trajectory.
Absolutely. Yeah. And on behalf of all your mentors throughout the years, I want to say thank you.
Yeah. I think I try to see the impact. Definitely an impact, right? What impact it is creating. And empathy is necessary because I cannot just give you a solution or tell you something when I don't understand your background, from which path you are coming, what is your problem, what you are seeking help on. All these things are required before I try to mentor a person. And then I think lots of things which I've faced in my life, experience speaks. It's very much when people ask this question, I'm like, oh yeah, in this company, this was my problem. On this company, I was having this problem. While studying, I had this issue. So all this sum up, and mentor is what? It's just like a person on the other side has more experience. That's all, right? Just have more experience than you, and you're learning from their mistakes. So
exactly, that's what it is.
So it's very much like you are just helping, trying to find out what an impact you can be creating, and then whatever knowledge you have, you can at least share, because sharing is caring. That's what I feel like. The more you share, the more you care about a person. That is true.
Preach.
Yeah, so that's what I work towards. Now you say burnout and things like that. Self doubt all the time. Let me be very real. Self doubt every time I'm going on a stage or I'm going for taking a big
Yeah,
decision.
yeah,
Every time I have a risk, every time I have that self doubt on probably if this will not work out, what will be the after effects of it. Lots of time it's a decision you are making for the company, right? What
yeah,
will happen,
yeah,
things will not run, and what are the so lots of time it's more about the analysis you have done. Have you done it right? What held you in the past? Can you experience speak out further? And then yeah, a lot of times we also have to start delegating the things, right? If there are on the burden side, I see if this is the thing which only I can do, or this is a thing with others can also do, right?
yeah, yeah.
So if
That's
I
true.
am the only person who can do it, of course I won't delegate. But if I have five, six people who can be learning from this experience, I want to delegate those things just to escape from the burnout.
Relaxing, yes. Because I did that post recently where I was on a panel recently talking about burnout. And it's something that we face a lot in our industry. But I think sometimes, like you rightly said, my philosophy is if you're in a team and you're the only one that knows how to do that thing in that team, you're not really doing a good job. What if you're knocked down by a boss one day? What happens? The work can't stop. So I think it's very important to always realize that we're human. We are not robots. We're not
Yeah.
AIs. We should be able to let other people do these things too, because then people can learn from their experiences when they do these things. It makes us better. It makes us. That's what makes us actually a team, not me alone or you alone, but all of us together make it work. And I think that is really, really important.
I mean, team is powerful, and that's what happens, right?
Oh,
Whenever we try to
absolutely.
hire people, also we try to sponsor initiatives where you know what, hiring pipeline also have a key where they are also seeing a diverse perspective and also bringing the people, like open the door for the people to enter, not
Yeah,
like always
exactly.
have a closed door that people of different perspective cannot even enter, right? So we if we are at that level, that we are at leadership positions, we definitely have to sponsor those initiatives, and that's what I try to do by giving more and more things to. So my definitely my goal is to leave the door for others to enter
Leave
instead
it
of.
as wide open as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been a very interesting conversation. Let's do a couple of quick fire rounds. So 30 seconds or less.
No,
What
okay.
excites you the most about the future of cybersecurity?
Definitely new things which are coming. Quantum is one of my favorite
I
topics
was
to think
expecting
about.
that.
Privacy enhancing technology because of AI
Okay.
coming. So I'm trying to see how innovative we could be to stop the things which are happening on privacy and ethical parts. Probably there will be lots and lots of innovations. And then
Okay. Okay.
new types of problem, because I feel like that makes your life more, I will say,
Interesting.
interesting. You keep on learning, you keep on thinking, and some of the solution for deepfakes. That's what is another goal which I'm
So
thinking of.
true. So true. So
Deepfake is
true.
literally ruining a lot of life. So something as a solution of deepfake is what I'm looking forward.
Okay, fantastic. Another question. If somebody said to you, I am a product manager or I'm a cybersecurity person and I want to go into leadership, give me one advice. What is that going to be?
It's mostly like master your craft, right? Don't go
Mm.
for always.
Mm.
Yeah, understand your business, your user. Always question why. So every time when we try to be in a position, we also try to be see that leadership is not very easy. You have to
No.
lead by examples. You have to do something which is very risky. You have to go with empathy. So all those things, whatever are the true skills of leadership, you have to learn everything, excel on it, craft on it, and then move towards it. Because it's very easy to get, I will say, more of fired at that position, because your decisions are very much a key. At
Yeah,
leadership
that's true.
position, you
That's
are
true. That's
giving
true.
instructions to so many people, and you are making a decision on behalf of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, with my experience, I've seen a lot of leaders
I would expect.
took one bad decision and was let go. So in
Yeah.
that case, it's not like a glamorous position, but it's a very risky position also. So you
Uneasy
have to
lies
be
the
very.
head that wears the crown.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to understand that am I smart enough to be reaching to that ladder, or I need more practice, and be truth to yourself, right? If you need more
Yeah.
practice, just learn and learn more. Definitely mentorship is a key. Get some guidance from others, try to find out what you're lacking, and then reach to that power.
Okay. One final question before we sort of tie this all together. What is the one thing that you wish more people knew about cybersecurity products?
Very much, it's not a defensive tool. It's a enable. It's very much a enablers of innovation. A lot of times when I have to write ROI, right? What is a ROI? Of course, being into cybersecurity, we are not revenue makers, right? We are more of a security enablers. So that is my ROI. That's why I said, if this was not applied here, we would have not made this business because everybody is trusting on security. So that's the way I mostly say that, you know what, we are enablers of innovation. Cybersecurity itself and secure products can definitely unlock new business models. You can learn more and more about it. And trust is a key in business, right? If you trusted a product, you will be using it repeatedly and you will grow the revenue. The moment you have one bad reputation, one thing which came out, nobody will trust you, so you'll lose the business. So never wait for that day to say, oh yeah, escape these risks. Doesn't matter because it will never happen. It's your luck. It's all about luck in that case, right? If that will happen, you will lose all those things which you have earned for years. So there where we have to understand that get educated on security too. It is not the side business. You have to think about whatever we are making. We should have security mindset. At the same time, it's not a parameter, it's more of a growth. You're going towards growth. The more you know about it, yes, there will be some factor you have to apply. It could be costly, but later on you will be sleeping at peace. That's why we have cameras around our houses. That's why we have insurance company becoming richer and richer, because you are just banking on that thought of, if this happen, what will happen, right?
What happened? Okay. Final thing. It's been a very exciting episode. We've said so many interesting things about around work, around leadership. But now I am curious, and I'm sure my audience is curious, because again, we've said it's not all work and no play makes Neha a dull girl. So what do you do to relax?
Okay. I don't know if your audience know, I love dancing. I do choreography to de-stress. I have a whole crew.
Nice.
Probably there will be a big show we'll be performing again. Last year we did a Broadway show.
Wow.
So for me, if people ask me this question, if you were not in technology, what you have been, I would have been a choreographer, because that's my passion. And there are different forms of dance, of course. I specifically love hip hop because I guess it's more about all the aggression or stress which you get at work. You're just releasing that, right? And then why choreography? Because again, it is just invoking more and more of my creative path. While at work also, I do more of solutioning. I do solution architecture and things like that. I think while applying to de-stress, I'm using the same thing, but on the creative path. So most of the time I challenge people, give me a song, give me 30 minutes and I'll choreograph for you. So that's the way I try to.
We should plan something soon.
Definitely, right? We'll meet again and you'll give me a song and I'm like, okay, let me do it.
Yes, I will start thinking about that song.
And I love nature.
Oh, nature. I think we can't, Pacific Northwesterner. So like I am, we're in the Pacific Northwest. You have to love nature. Look at all the mountains we have around us and all the forests and the lakes.
Just calms me down. And then walking around.
That's what it does.
It's just like so good when you do a trekking or you do hiking. I think people say, everybody do that. But yes, it is also good. It's very much taking a breath, right? Breathing, being alive. When you go in nature, that's how you value everything which is coming your way. And then it also gives you calmness.
Get out of the concrete jungle. Go into nature. Go into the greenery. That is so important.
That's so important.
Important. And with that, we are at the end of another inspiring episode of the CyberSec Migrant. Thank you, massive thank you to our guest Neha for showing us what it really means to lead with heart and security and actually be the best version of yourself. And of course, we're going to take you up on that option choreograph. So watch out for that.
Yes.
If you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you smash that like button, leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe, because we're on a mission to reach our first 1,000 subscribers. So with your help, we can get there. I'm going to leave a link to Neha's LinkedIn profile down below. Just reach out and see the good things she's doing on there. Do you know someone who's interested in cybersecurity or dreaming of stepping into leadership? Send this podcast their way, and let's keep growing this community of disruptors, dreamers, and cybersecurity professionals. Until the next time, stay secure and remember, all it takes is one bold move to be successful in cyber. My name is Femi and this is your host signing out. Thank you.